Check 1, 2. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Eddie Jackson 220 Quarterback Club. Well, welcome back. After a week off, we are back and ready to get back into the meat of this season. Before we go any further, I'd like us all to take a quick pause, moment of silence. In case you haven't heard, Helene is currently the third leading death toll of a disaster like that, but I expect it to surpass because it's only like 17 people behind number 2. And I just really think that when it all washes out, we're going to find out that it's the second deadliest natural disaster in U.S. history. So real quick, if we could, let's all put down the chicken real quick. And we're going to take a moment of silence for all of those who lost their lives over the last week. Amen. At this time, I'd like to bring up Harold Thornton, who has a presentation. If you don't know what the theme of today is we got to keep on rolling, just like King George. We got to keep on rolling and keep this green rolling. So Harold, if you would, come around.
Good afternoon, Rattlers. All right, all right, all right. Thank you, Vaughn, very much, and thanks for allowing me to do this for have a couple minutes on the program. I'm going to ask the contributors of the Jackson Recognition Project to please come forward and stand on both sides of the podium here, please, and also Gene McKinney and James Matthews and Ron Joe, if you all can come up here and hold this for me, please. Thank you very much. Well, all the contributors of the Jackson Recognition Project work group and the work group. Yeah. And Miss Jackson. Miss Jackson too. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, and Vaughn is one of the contributors too, but he's doing multiple tasks this morning. While they're coming up, I'll tell you a quick joke so they can get us started this morning. There was a lady that went into the pharmacy and she went up to the pharmacist and said, I'd like to get a lethal dose of arsenic, either in liquid or pill form. And the pharmacist said, well, what do you need this for, ma'am? She said, I got to get rid of my husband. He's been cheating on me. So pharmacist said, ma'am, I can't do that. That's illegal. So she reached in her purse and she said, she handed the pharmacist a picture. And it was a picture of her husband making love to the pharmacist's wife. And the pharmacist said, ma'am, why didn't you say you had a valid prescription? Okay, with that in mind, okay, you wives don't get any ideas, okay, please? Okay, all right. Okay, here we go. Okay, the Jackson Recognition Project, these are some of the contributors that contributed to it, but one of the things that we did when we wanted to do the Eddie Jackson and Geraldine Jackson Wall of Honor was number one, to honor Eddie and Geraldine Jackson for all the work that they've done that is second to none. They've set the gold standard of giving. They set the gold standard of giving, but we also wanted to leave a permanent display so that it could motivate students, faculty, and other visiting members of the public to give at that level and to be the kind of alumni we all should be for our College of Love and Charity. Eddie and Geraldine have developed a community of givers and supporters like the 220 Quarterback Club, and we wanted to give back. Now, we asked certain contributors to give some money, and there were a couple of that really stepped up. Gene McKinney, who gives to everything that has to do with athletic program, and then Barbara Norwood and Ed Norwood, they really stepped up and gave big time. And then James Matthews and Ron Joe, they collected so many contributions that we had an overage, in our fund account. And at this time, we wanted to give the balance, which has already been transferred from the Jackson Recognition Project back to the $1 million campaign, which was Eddie and Gerald's vision and dream. And now that Eddie is gone and he's looking down and can't give me a response, I need to tell him that we all knew that it was always Gerald and Jackson's idea. So, at any rate, we wanted to give the rebalance of the that was in the fund and back to the $1 million campaign, which was really Eddie's and Gerald's dream, so that we can bring that to a reality. It is the answer to the unmet needs of the athletic program, and I think it will go a long way. So please join me in presenting this symbolic check and the monies that have already been transferred to that account to Dr. Geraldine Jackson from the Jackson Recognition Project work group and its contributors to the $1 million campaign. Thank you very much. The amount is $1,243. Now, if y'all appreciate that, please stand up for a minute. Just stand up for a minute and give the contributors some money. But okay. But we also want to ask you to reach in your pocket and match this contribution today.
All right, very
Thank
good.
you, Rallis, and go Rallis.
Thank you.
We're going to make this $1 million campaign come to fruition.
Now, some of y'all might be laughing at Harold's check. He called me yesterday and asked me, did I have a blank check? I said, no. He said, I'll make one. I don't care what it looked like right there. The money's already transferred. So it's green. As far as I'm concerned, that's just a blank green sign right there. Thank you, Harold. And thank you, committee, for all that you all did. Every time I walk by that display, it is definitely representative of what you wanted it to look like. Next up, I'd like to bring up Deacon James Matthews. Y'all remember, he came up here with 7,000 and I sent him on a mission because he hadn't reached his goal. So he said he had something to say today, but we're going to see.
Thank you, Vaughn, but don't extend my goal beyond where it is. But I promised that I would announce these grand rallies, and they are the ones that have said that they are committed to the $1 million campaign. Um, Marvin and Gloria Henderson, $1,000. Elaine and Eli Bryant, $1,000. Booker and Faye Daniels. Booker is in Atlanta. He's watching 1,000. Attorney Carolyn Cummins, Commissioner Cummins, $1,000. And Mitchell Clark, who's a great SBI graduate, 1,000, which is a total of 5,000 for the $1 million campaign. Let's give these new grand rallies a round of applause. I had a 6-person, and he committed, but he started mumbling. He mentioned Ronald Joe, and I said, well, I don't know who that guy is, but it was Ray Mobley, Colonel Joe. He started mentioning your name, so we'll share his contribution, but he's committed to the $1 million campaign also. So thank you. I just wanted to say, welcome, AD Suggs, and congratulations. And there's a common denominator among these people. Most of them are members of Bethel Missionary Baptist Church, your home church.
All right. So I think Deacon Matthews got to 10,000 too fast as a board member. So I'm going to extend, we're going to have a conversation offline. We're going to have to extend Deacon Matthews. We're going to have to extend him You don't get finished that easy. We'd like to announce some additional funds that have come in. I'm going to start with our newest Grand Rattler, Dr. Leela Walker, with her $1,000. And we'll bring up our CEO. She don't really like me to call her that, but she's the CEO. Okay, you want me to do it? Okay. James Hasty sent in $200. Janice Perkins, where are you? Please stand up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome our newest Grand Rattler for the $1 Million campaign.
And I'm going to make my own donation. So I thank you, Special Project Committee again, and all of you. Just thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't stop thanking you people for things that you're doing for us. But on that note, I have my $1,000 that I want to give today also. It is- Are there any others?
Yes, we want to thank Wade Bellamy for sending in his Grand Rattler contribution, one of the best shooters in FAMU basketball history. He sent in his 1,000 plus. I'll say 1,000. He didn't stop at 1,000, but thank you, Wade Bellamy. Thank you, everyone who's contributed online. And Dr. Jackson and I are finalizing what will be the letters. We have them printed, but we think there needs to be an insert because we don't want anybody asking for any information about how to donate. So to all you members in here, for sure, the next time that we meet, we're going to give, when you check in, you're going to get 10 envelopes. And we need at least $100 back for each one of them 10 envelopes we give you. Okay? As I said from the beginning, this is not Vaughn Wilson's campaign. This is our campaign. This was Eddie's idea, and we agreed that we're going to do it, and we have to do it for our athletics department to make sure that they can be successful. October 16th, not next week after next, there is an event here. So next week, we will decide where we're going. I don't want to say it now because it might confuse people. So we just, and for those who just insist on coming by, just like last time, we'll leave a sign on the door with the correct address of where we are. All right, with that, I would like to bring up the executive director of the Rattler Boosters, Mr. Selvin Cobb.
Good afternoon, everybody. Add $1,000. That's for Mr. Derek Singleton. Vaughn, add $1,000 to Mr. Derek Singleton. Okay. As always, we always start off with it's time to join the Rattler Boosters, and our benefits. We start off with a student booster. That's $50. There's a regular booster. That's $100. There's a Venom Club member. That's $300. And we also like to thank Mr. James Blakeney today, James Blake, that he became a Venom member. And also we like to thank our Life member, which is $750. So again, it's always time to join the Rattler Boosters. I'm sorry, that was Mr. James Bryant. I'm sorry, James Bryant. Okay, just a few wrap-ups. The weather was pretty bad last week, so we were kind of limited to our outdoor activities. But we have a 3-game winning streak with our volleyball team. We had 2 players that made the SWAC All Conference tournament. I mean, two players for the week. Mr. Uh, Miss Tenon Galmas, she was the defensive player of the week, and Alexandra Carveco Kavecki was the setter of the week. So we want to honor those two players for their achievement. Uh, our next game is at 6 o'clock. Looking on the calendars, 6 o'clock, Lawson Center. We will be playing that's Friday. Yeah, Friday at 6 o'clock at the Lawson Center. And we will be playing Alabama State. We'll be playing Alabama State at 6 o'clock. And at Sunday at 1 o'clock, we are going to be playing Alabama A&M. So we got two games coming up this weekend. That's at 6 o'clock on Friday and 1 o'clock on Sunday. So we want you to go out and let's pack brag. Um, Now, I said we were on a three-game losing streak. I mean, a winning streak. Last week, we went to the state of Mississippi, and we started out at Jackson State, and we won 3-2. And we ended up going over to Mississippi Valley, where we won 3-0. So again, thanks everybody for all that you do for Rattler Boosters. And again, Angela, thank you. Glad to have you home.
So that there's no misconceptions, I also want to give Selvin my Venom and also $50 for my daughter's student booster. Okay, so you can become student boosters. We got to continue to support the Rattler Boosters um, and all of our efforts to support FAMU athletics. At this time, obviously, we know last week a lot of things were canceled. And unfortunately, the FAMU Sports Hall of Fame got canceled as well. And let me tell you, it was a lot of sad phone calls we had to make. But talking, I asked the chairman of the FAMU Sports Hall of Fame to come and explain the rescheduled date, Marvin Green.
Thanks, Vaughn. Good afternoon. Uh, Excited to be here. Excited that we're all in the land of the living. It's nothing but God's grace and favor that kept us last week. And so there are a lot of people who thought that it didn't hit Tallahassee, and they kept saying it's going to hit Tallahassee, and they tried to make that a big deal because it didn't hit. But to me, I just believe in grace and favor, and just thank God for that. So I'm glad to see you all here, and hope you all didn't have any damage. And so we did have to postpone the Sports Hall of Fame and we've decided on a date. We're going to go with October the 25th. That's the Friday before the Southern game. So that's October 25th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time in the Hazeltook Senior Recreation Center. We will have the event there. And like Vaughn said, we have 12 inductees who will be going in, 5 athletes, 2 coaches, and 2 contributors and 2 supporters. And so last week we would have had a guest who would have joined us, and so it's great to know that now our vice president of athletics will be actually a part of our ceremony. So we thank you, and I want to welcome you on behalf of the FAMU Sports Hall of Fame back to the Hill, Angela. I'm excited to see you back here. A lot of people talk about culture, and they're so excited to see Angie coming home because she's a Rattler, a baby Rattler. But I just want to say, Vaughn, if you don't mind, take a point of personal privilege to say that Angie's more than just a baby Rattler who's coming home. She's somebody who understands and appreciates the culture of FAMU. She's somebody who's not scared of hard work. What you all don't know, what happens on a game day, getting ready for the game day, being at the stadium at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, putting signs out and things like that. But it's one thing to be a hard worker, but it's another thing when you're talking about being a brand builder. Some people respect brands, but some people also help to build brands. And when I got up this morning, I thought about putting on my Hall of Fame shirt, but ironically, That one wasn't iron. I'll blame that on my wife instead of me. So if Sika hears that, but she'll look at me and say, "No, you iron your own shirts." But when I put this shirt on, seriously, I thought about the A&M. And I remember, Angie, when you came up with this design, and it was all about we need to build a brand. I see Rattlers with those hats on. That's important. When you look at other schools, I won't say big schools, when you see other schools, you see their brand represented the same way all the time. And because of that, you know exactly who you're talking about. You know exactly who you're dealing with. And that's what Angie was talking about when she started talking about the A&M, talking about the brand, making sure the Rattlers facing the right way, right? All of those things matter because if you don't respect your brand, no one else will. When you're trying to get people to contribute to a brand, you have to make sure that that brand has sends a message when people see it, right? And so I want to say just what you did with brand building, what you did with hard work, always been a hard worker. And then, of course, last but not least, been able to know the people here. I see a lot of, we can say, seasoned rattlers in a room. We have to make sure that we do our part, Angela and Vaughn and myself, and there's a few other 50s in the room. Pat James, my man. We have to make sure we get those other generations involved so they can come in front of the room or they can go wherever they are and start contributing. So we got the 50s we got to get here and ultimately got to get the 30s here, right, Brother Moore? Because those folks, everybody has disposable income. But what you have to eventually do is make people decide to give their disposable income to you. And that starts with making sure you have somebody in leadership. And so, again, Angie, glad you're back, glad you're home. Don't forget, the FAMU Sports Hall of Fame will be held October the 25th. That's the Friday before the Southern game. We don't have any other game competing with us. And it looks like right now, if they were competing with us, they might have a hard time getting a crowd. But no, it's tough. You know, to me, I think when Tallahassee wins, it's all better. I do believe in reaching across the track. So just want to say thank you all for having me here today. Angela, thanks for being back and wish you nothing but the best.
Thanks, Marvin. I couldn't find the letter, but just to let you all know, the envelopes will already be, will already have the address on it to send it back to us to our P.O. box. Miss Jackson made me add some color. She said the letter needed some orange and green, so the ones y'all had last week didn't have this much color in it, but this one has more orange and green. She pleads orange and green, trust me. Uh, at this time, we're going to bring VP AD Suggs up after Coach Cozy. But real quick, Ashley, how you doing today? Okay, good. Did y'all have? I got my shirt in the mail after the. Yeah, I got my NIL shirt. I bought that, and did everybody get some of the Dean's Dozens donuts supporting Kelvin Dean? Yeah, we did 8 dozen again today to support him. Uh, he don't know it. Can you let him know? We every first of the month we do Dean Dozen. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to any Tallahassee Krispy Kreme and ask for a Dean Dozen. I think they're normally like $14, but if you ask for the Dean Dozen, it's like $10.50, and he gets support. Number 9, Kelvin Dean Jr. gets a percentage of that with his NIL deal. So I don't eat that many donuts, but I figured a way we could support him by bringing them here. So when you need donuts, think about supporting our own. Um, it's hard for me to put the titles on her name, and it's not that I don't respect them. It's just the fact that all my life, she's just been Angie. So VP Suggs, could you please join me for a moment? So everyone has been borderline harassing us once we got the new 220 quarterback logo. Well, when were the shirts going to be ready? And when are the hats going to be ready? So we worked with Kenny T, and he simply said, it's too intricate. We can't stitch that. It would take forever to stitch that. We can do it by patches. So we have ordered 400 or 500 patches at, and they're at Kenny T's. And today we want to present the first shirt off the line to VP Suggs. That'll be a trivia question some years down the line. Who got the first shirt? Kenny T told me you all have been harassing him. Please, we got a little bit more work to do. Probably by next week, we'll unleash you all to be able to go down to Kenny T's and order online. But he told me he was borderline getting harassed. I understand we're gonna have orange, green, white hats, different things with the 220 Quarterback Club official logo on them, okay? All right, we will. We are getting a percentage of those shirts, a good percentage. We're almost done. The corporation is done. We have our federal number. The 501c3 portion is almost done. It was kind of a lengthy thing to do, but we're almost done with that. If you want to contribute to the campaign, make sure you write the check to the FAMU Foundation, account number 2649, or if you're online, and we thank you for our online people, the Cash App is up. We have the athletic director in the house, so we need to get a hefty donation from our people online to welcome our new VP and athletics director. The ways to give is online on stream, as well as you can go to 220qbclub.com at any time, and all of the ways that you can give. Kenya Sykes asked me about her mom wanted to be a Grand Rattler. Go to 220qbclub.com and hit donate, and it'll take you right to where you need to go. Give you all the information you need. Okay? All right, at this time, I'd like to introduce the head coach who's going to homecoming part 1 this week in Montgomery, and we don't lose homecoming. Ladies and gentlemen, the head coach of the Florida A&M Rattlers, James Cozy III. Hmm?
You want to do it now? You want to do it? Real quick, just want to bring up Mr. Eli Patrick. He's got a couple things to say to you guys. So I'm gonna allow him 2 minutes. He said two, which means maybe five. So
No, I'm military. Put me on the clock. Put me on the clock. No, good afternoon, everybody. It is good to be here. This is my first time here. I'm Colonel Retired Eli Patrick, but everybody can call me Eli. And first of all, I just want to acknowledge and appreciate the things that the 220 Quarterback Club is doing. And I want to reiterate what Mr. Green was saying. We got to get some baby rattlers in here. We got to get some, I don't know what they call us, millennials. I don't even know what my age group is. Yeah, I don't know what I am. But we need to get more of us in this room because y'all are doing some great things in here. But I'll be super brief. What I want to do today is just come in and introduce myself so you guys can put a name with a face. I am, again, Eli Patrick. I'm the president and founder of the Patrick Youth Development Foundation. Our foundation mentors youth and young adults to be leaders in the community and among their peers dealing with athletics, academics, character, and community. And fortunately, we've been able to support 8 of our football players with an NIL representation. I think everybody now knows through Ashley, because Ashley's been coming for a couple of times, what the NIL is. But they have been representing my foundation since April. And what I did is I stepped in early on to give time for the FANG exchange to get organized and to be able to step up and to get things going for the NIL stuff. So now they're good to go, but I'm gonna get the players through the rest of the season. And I just wanted to come in today just so you know who I am. Our organization has donated well over $10,000 in scholarships and donations. And yes, I have already contributed to the $1 million campaign. As soon as the link was ready, one of my boys, I give him a shout out, Brian Starks, my line brother. He sent me the link as soon as it was ready, and I have already donated, and I will be donating again to let you know. But rather, I just say this: continue to give, encourage others to give. I encourage everyone. I know maybe this is not the forum. I encourage everyone also to join the National Alumni Association because we got to get our numbers up there. The sooner we get organized as organizations, we can pool our money and we can have even more of an influence. But I encourage all to continue to keep what you're doing. I will be at Alabama State. My parents were at Alabama State, so we definitely need to beat them real good. Uh, both of my parents were at Alabama State. But I'm going to get out of the way. Y'all waiting on Coach and y'all waiting on Eddie Suggs. And the last thing I'm going to say, congratulations, young lady. You deserve it.
Right before Coach Cozy comes up, I want to say that we are meeting with the foundation next week. So by next Wednesday, those Grand Rattlers and Century Rattlers and contributors that have gone online, we haven't forgotten about you. We will read off that list next week.
First and foremost, good afternoon. I want to just also extend condolences and well wishes to anybody who was, affected by Hurricane Helene. I think that's, throughout last week, I had a lot of people, hey, coach, are you gonna be okay? And how is Tallahassee and things of that nature? And some of those people were in Atlanta and North Carolina. So then I had to go on Friday and Saturday. Hey, how are you guys okay? And how are you doing? So obviously, as we mentioned, in our favor, obviously not being able to have the football game against Alabama A&M. We still got a little bit of a sour taste in our mouth. I also want to make sure I say congratulations to AD Suggs. She gets mad, and I call her Miss Angela Suggs. And in mid-conversation, she says Angela, and then I say Miss Angela Suggs. But I promise you I will figure that part out as well. But congratulations. I know October 7th, am I right? Monday. So, but congratulations as well. Obviously, we last time we were here, we were getting ready to play. In my opinion, pretty decent football team in Troy, another FBS opponent. Obviously got people who watched the football game got a chance to see. We 7-6 and then 14-9 going at halftime, and and obviously a couple big plays here and there. Then now we're on the other side of a loss, but I think for us, as a football team, continuing to learn and about our guys, continue to learn what type of players we have, where we need to get the football, defensively, things that we need to continue to work on. And when I grabbed the team after the game, we win, lose or draw, we're gonna meet together. We're gonna pray and take a long time to leave the facility, but we're gonna do everything that we need to do, whether we win or lose. And we did what we did. We learned from it. We were really, really excited to get a chance to play this this past Saturday. Was not able to play, but what it did do for us is gave us a chance to get healthy. We're when we play Alabama State this upcoming Saturday, we will probably be about as healthy as we've been all season. Guys, little nicks and bruises here. So now, getting a chance to fully see our football team against an opponent that, that it will, what for us will be our SWAC opener, right? So Alabama State, obviously, I want you guys to know I'm not seeing this homecoming game as anything else except our SWAC opener. Our team is seeing it as, again, our SWAC opener against a football team that's a very, very good football team, right? You go on the road, right? It's going to be a pretty hostile environment. The last 2 seasons we've played against them, they have been really, really close games that at the end, we made more plays than they did. They just so happened to put us on their schedule for their homecoming. So what does that mean? A lot of people are going to be there. Well, we knew a lot of people are going to be there to begin with, right? Our band's going to be there. Well, we know our band was going to be there. to begin with, right? Gonna be a lot of traffic. Well, guess what? We're in town, so yeah, you darn right. There's gonna be a lot of traffic, right? For the game. So a lot of the things that are gonna happen on Saturday, we're already well aware of, right? We're used to it. We understand that's what happens when the Rattlers show up. It happens to be their homecoming, and as was mentioned, sometimes when you do homecoming, you normally bring a team in that you think you can beat. So we do have a little check mark somewhere in the locker room where that was kind of noted. But other than that, I want to say earlier in the week, Miss Jackson asked me to. She just sent us a text. What time was that text? Vaughn? About 10 o'clock at night, maybe 10:30. She wanted a quick response, right? And she sent me the text. She said, "Coach, I need to make sure you have the 3 MVPs here for dinner, for lunch. Excuse me." I just said, "Yes, ma'am." Vaughn still has not responded to that text because he knew the text wasn't for me. But all I was said was, "Yes, ma'am," and she wanted to make sure they had the jersey. So Miss Jackson, they're here and they have the jerseys. So that was the one thing she wanted to make sure that I had. And but I obviously, getting a chance to open up SWAC 2-2 record, 2 losses against University of Miami and Troy. FBS opponents are 2 wins, obviously, against South Carolina State and Norfolk State. Do we need to play better, crew? Yes, we do. Right? When you play SWAC teams and a team that was picked first, where we were picked second, we got some things that obviously we've worked on. I can't necessarily say it too much, but we've had some things that we needed to work on. We've done that. I'm expecting on Saturday the best Florida A&M Rattler football team that we've put out this season. All right, so we're again healthy, ready to go. Daniel Richardson ready to go. Defensively, Nayron Jenkins ready to go. Special teams ready to go. So again, thank you for all you continue to do. I trust me. We had a long road trip back. Received again another 20 to 25 messages, obviously wishing me well and just saying, "Coach, we know we got a very very good football team," and all of the things that as a coach, right, you love to hear, right, and also got some messages, "Coach, we need to tackle better." Yeah, yes, ma'am. You're right. Now, I think that come from you, Dr. Walker. Who told me that? It wasn't you. Said we need to tackle better. Somebody said it. Was you? You texted me, said we need to tackle better. Now that was at 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. I don't know what that was about. But she told me, and I just said yes, ma'am. So again, well wishes. Thank you very, very much. SWAC opener, right? Obviously playing against Alabama State. Excited to get going. Excited to defend this SWAC championship, and we obviously getting a chance to win on Saturday. We have another bye week, and then hopefully, right? It's 9 straight weeks as we lead up to the to playing in the Celebration Bowl. Hopefully in Atlanta, but we got to take care of what first this weekend. Obviously Saturday against Alabama State. Open for questions, and looking forward to getting ready to get going on Saturday.
Coach, as I spoke to you earlier,
Yep.
you told me to make sure I asked this question.
Mhm.
I was in Troy, and I was sitting around a bunch of rattlers from different places, and one of them said to me, "Why, when they change the offensive lineman out, the running game goes down?" So you're in Tallahassee, you go to 220, make sure you ask that. We're going to be listening on YouTube.
Okay. Well, we have and we've mentioned about our offensive line, how good they are, and we've been blessed with the opportunity to be able to play more than 5, 6, 7. I mean, we believe it or not, we actually travel 12 offensive linemen whenever we go on the road, and and at times during a football game, you substitute, right? We don't have everybody. Not every, I mean, minus our quarterback, but every other player on our football team does not play every single snap. We did have an injury at one point of the drive, but secondly, we make substitutions, right? And when you make substitutions, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And believe it or not, you know what? That was the time, we had our discussion. There's certain times in a football game that we must have our best 11 on the field, right? And that includes our 5 best offensive linemen. And no excuses for me at that time or a couple times during that time. We didn't have our best 5 out there, and you saw the result. We during these first 4 games, we wanted to see what we had, right? We know what TJ Lee can do. We know what Jalen Goss can do. And believe it or not, right, you put a sub in just to see how they're going to play and how they're going to react. And they didn't perform the task. No matter what, when you hit the field, you're no longer a second teamer or a third teamer. You're a first teamer. So you must play like a starter, right? And you got on the field. We had trust in them, right? They didn't perform well. So what happens to that person? We don't lose them. We don't necessarily not use them anymore. But does that person's time get limited? Absolutely, right? So we want to be able to build our team. We understand that injuries may happen during the season, but once you hit the field, you must play like a starter. And a couple times in the game, right? Our run game did suffer because they weren't able to perform the way we needed them to. So and that's a great question. Yes, sir. You on? Okay.
Coach,
Yes, sir.
I was at the game also in Troy. One thing we know, and I think you know too, that the one player that y'all couldn't stop was number 7.
Yes, sir.
Why was there not someone or the team, made that adjustment to stop number 7?
Well, believe it or not, we were. Uh, that was that was the problem. We were. We were trying. And I don't know if you remember earlier in the week, and we had our conversation about 7, and I think somebody made mention. I think I was talking in our conversation, Gerald. I said how very, 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 very good that young man was, and he was a really, really good player. Doesn't mean we weren't trying to stop him. I mean, it was a young man that maybe have been a little bit better than we were, right? And I would say this, that you get opportunities like that for our players to play against a guy like that, to play against a dynamic player like that, right? You get an opportunity to stop him, and we had a couple guys that we thought could do a very, very good job against him, right? And believe it or not, he had the deep ball touchdown. We had a guy there, right? We had a guy there, right? The screen, we had a guy there. He just made one of our guys miss. It wasn't like we weren't trying to stop him. They tried to stop Michael Jordan as well, right? So I mean, and I want you to know, we definitely had our eye on him, and we definitely knew he was a very, very good player. And for us to be successful, we needed to make probably a better concerted effort against him. But trust me, when we were game planning for him, we were definitely trying to do everything we could to stop that young man.
Okay, one last question.
Yes, sir.
It had to do with penalty.
Yes, sir.
What are we doing about that?
Well, what did we do about penalties, Neron? We had, and we made mention before, right? There's times when you have playing penalties, right? The penalties, and I think I've said this before. The penalties for us where I get a little bit uneasy about, what we call the unsportsmanlike. We had two, right? One was a really, really, it's where they had a penalty, right? They actually roughed our quarterback, and then one of our veterans went and got an unsportsmanlike penalty, and they put us right at the 40-yard line. Where with that penalty, we had a big play. I think that was your run, wasn't it? They threw the ball to you, right? We got the ball about the 40-yard line. They roughed our quarterback, and then it would have put us inside the 20 to 25-yard line. And then one of our guys went down there. Those are the penalties where hey, we got him out the game, right? But as a veteran, for us, we talk as a veteran player, a guy who's been really, really successful. That selfish. To me, that was a selfish penalty, right? We got to understand the moment. So what did we do, right? Coach Henry, as a staff, we penalized him, right? We ran him, but I don't want to continue to have to run everybody every week, right? I mean, for me, we had a part in practice today. A young man made an undisciplined penalty. We were working a drill in defense, right? And Kinsler did what? He jumped off sides, right? So for sometimes we got guys that can run all day, right? We can run them, but the way we affected Kinsler this morning was he had a bad penalty. We took him off the field. So you take him off the field, that sometimes hurts them more than the running does, right? So that was the next step, right? I mean, you're gonna get playing penalties, right? But the unsportsmanlike, the ones that you're talking about, right? Take them, just get them off the field. That's the next step for us.
Coach,
Yes,
a follow-up to, I think, Mr. Johnny's question. Uh, our defensive line got too many gaps. It- the, most of the teams are running straight off of the center's butt. They're running right off that. Now, I know you play your defense that you want to, but a 5-2, where you put somebody over that center and give that center something to do also. I don't think they'll be able to run straight off his butt. Back during my old days, Coach Harris used to call them 31 quickie and 32. That's when the fullback run the ball straight up the center. And that's all they're doing.
yes, sir.
Now go back to the Mr. Johnny on that wide out 7. We never hit him at the line of scrimmage. He was running free all day long. He came off and got into his pattern, and that was it. Uh, I don't know, do you all believe in hitting that wide out at the line of scrimmage, or as the game gotten to the point where in corners now are just somebody out there. Back during the day, corners used to knock the water out of a wide out,
Yes, sir.
and make sure he got up off the ground before getting into his pattern.
Yes, sir.
But now they just run. Bam. All right.
Are
You
are you
understand what I'm saying?
you asking me a question
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Have y'all gotten to the point? That's what I'm saying. Have football gotten to that point? I know now it has made a lots of changes.
Yes, sir. Yes, I'll say this, and believe it or not, on number 7, we call that a press technique, right? And we actually were pressing number 7. The game plan on number 7 was to press him as much as we can. So what Troy was doing was they were putting multiple receivers or receivers in front of him to not allow us to press them. So the game plan on number 7, just and when you get a chance, go back and watch if you want. All right, that we talked about pressing number 7 the entire time, no matter what was going on. Now we had a situation when on the screen, I probably said some things during the game I probably shouldn't have said, and why I said it was we didn't have somebody pressing number 7, right? So believe it or not, that was one of our things on the game plan. Was to press him, was to challenge him, is what we call it, was to do all of those things on him. And he had the big play at the end. I thought, again, in my opinion, that I thought we could have tackled a heck of a lot better. I thought we could have been a lot physical on him. But believe it or not, we were on him as much as we can. It doesn't show. It doesn't show, but I mean that was, we call it a press technique. Number 3, Kendall Bowler, one of the best in the conference to do so. 13, Michael Opong, 6'2", 190. Those guys we asked to press. Now Troy, again, their answer was they saw us press, so they put guy in front of him, right? Put a tight end in front of him, and that's how you go against those type of things. So I mean, believe me, my idea was to put as much as we can on him, and we, you got a guy who's as good as he is, right? He made some amazing plays, So
Now, the second part of that.
yes, sir.
Okay, I'm talking. uh, the pick play. Have they completely, or is it something in officials' meetings where they are not calling the pick play?
Are you talking about when they ran the out route and they blocked us
Yeah,
during the play?
yeah.
Well, that was believe it or not, that should have been a flag. I made that aware. Hey man, that's a flag. And then the next play, they call a flag on us for pass interference, right? So that probably wasn't one of my good moments in speaking to the officials during the game. But but you're exactly right. To answer your question, no, because that was an obvious pick call and they didn't call it, right?
Just a reference online, they are saying Stephen Campbell and Brian Fulford say the 220 quarterback club asks harder questions than the SWAC media
Media
press
day.
conference.
So-
And
SWAT conference. It's
I
just three
totally
questions.
agree with him. And also one question came online. It was the question that continued to resonate was Alabama State is a running team.
Yes, sir.
Have we bulked up our run defense?
Well, believe it or not, we got two guys that are back. We actually have another linebacker that's going to help come play for us this week as well. He's a guy that we added to our roster. But you get a team that's rushed for 308 yards. We know what they're going to do. They have a very, very young quarterback. So, I think and to coaches, Alabama State's head coach's credit, he's a guy that wants to run the football and play defense. So when you go on the road, right, we got to be able to stop the run, and offensively we got to be able to do what? We got to be able to run the football. So those are things that, again, right, we've done a good job over the last couple of weeks getting ourselves ready. And Alabama State has not, even though they ran for as many yards as they ran last week, that's what they've done over the last couple of years. That's the kind of team that they are. They want to run the ball, and they're okay with punting because they feel that they're so good on defense. So offense, obviously challenged a little bit, things that we've mentioned. I know our offensive coordinator has done a really, really good job of instituting some things that we want to do to them. But, I mean, if you guys are expecting a blowout Saturday, we haven't blown them out 2 years that I've been there. It's gonna be a very, very good football game with the HBCU experience at an all-time high. A lot of the bands, the crowd, the ability to go play there, and believe me, right, winning the game at Alabama State will let you know what kind of team that we may have.
Yeah, coach.
Yes, sir.
I noticed we were doing a lot of rolling out for the quarterback. Was the pocket breaking down, or it was design rollouts, or what was going on with the rollout pass?
Well, you played Miami the week before, right? And you feel that you might not have protected him as well as you could, right? So the next thing to do is, right, let's just have him dropping back the pass and leaving him kind of as a sitting duck, right? You move the pocket around, right? Allow the alignment to use your athletic ability as opposed to just guys getting in their chest, right? So we thought we could protect a little bit better by rolling the quarterback out, right, and giving him more direct passes to guys in the flat. So that was, you saw Miami, we gave up more sacks than we normally do.
Right.
So the adjustment was, let's get the quarterback out of the pocket, make the throws that he needs to make, and I thought we did a good job of that.
Is there any way we can offer them a seven a deal?
Say it again.
Can we offer them a seven a deal on the NIL stuff?
One question. One question. Last question. Last question. Last question. That's it.
We good?
That's it. We're good.
Well, thank you again. I do want to make sure I introduce the three people that we do have here. First, these were our MVPs of our Troy football game, and I know you're going to do the plaque in a few seconds, but okay. All right. Miss Suggs, good luck. It's warm up here. it's a little warm up here.
Good.
Thank you.
One more statement, Coach, and I know you sat down, was we hope you're addressing the red zone,
Yes, we have.
scoring touchdowns. I mean, we like to see I like to see my brother kick, but okay.
Okay, for the MVP players for the Troy game, the defensive MVP is Naron Jenkins. Lisa. Okay, the offensive MVP is Kobe Gross. Okay, and last but not least, special teams MVP, Cameron Gillis. Okay, let's give them all a round of applause.
Somebody asked how tall Cameron was. I said he tall enough to kick that ball through the field goal. That's all that matters. Again and again. We'd also like to welcome our newest Grand Rattler for the $1 Million Campaign, Nehemiah Chambers. Thank you. Uh-oh. You know, when the homeowner comes, you got to give a special welcome to Elder Chris Burney. Just give him a warm round of applause. Boy, they're one of the sharpest pastors around, boy. I tell you, and his wife got them hats, boy. Come on around here, Pastor. And let's give him a round of applause. He just celebrated his 20th pastoral anniversary. Let's give him a round of applause.
I see I have a lot of members in here and Old West in here. So glad to be here. I try to make it here as much as I'm so proud of FAMU and where you have my prayers and the coach. He left already. All right. Y'all don't ran the coach out. I always get tickled when I come. But I'm supporting Dr. Jackson and this initiative with $1,000.
All right. I told y'all we could find 500 people that were going to do this. And as you all can see, along with those who are giving online, we're on our way. So next week, we're going to do more of an in-depth dive into what we have so far. Recognize our people who have given online that we don't see bringing in checks, but trust me, the money is going directly into our account. And it's all going to FAMU Athletics to support the young lady that I'm about to bring up. You know, some people say you bleed orange and green, but I don't think you can bleed any more orange and green than being born in FAMU's hospital. I think that kind of trumps anything else you can bring up about bleeding orange and green. She was born there, went to FAMU High School. The DRS people will get mad at me, but when I was there, it was high school. When she was there, it was high school. Went to Florida A&M University. Was a member of the FAMU swim team under Coach Ellis, who's going into FAMU Sports Hall of Fame, curiously, this year. She was also a member of the choir. I get it mixed up. Which one was it? It was the concert choir. It wasn't the gospel choir. It was the concert choir. And also a member of Delta Sigma Theta. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a round of applause for our new Vice President and Director of Athletics from Florida A&M University, Angela Suggs.
Thank you so much, President Vaughn. And to, of course, through the leadership that's here, we just want to recognize everyone. I did grow up in Bethel Missionary Baptist Church, 224 North Martin Luther King Boulevard, here in Tallahassee. So in those roots, protocol having been established, definitely want to thank you all. And so without the tears, on Gridiron Diamond Track and Field, thy sons the victory never yield. And while they tread a broader life, thy love shall stay them in the strife. I'm home, rattlers. And to everyone that we have online, when we say I'm home, and now the theme has come, welcome home, that's for all of us, right? That's for everyone. I spoke to the Tallahassee Quarterback Club last night, and I told the entire room that orange and green looks good on you too, because Florida A&M University and the Rattler athletic teams represent the 850. And so when we leave Tallahassee, we represent Tallahassee. And so to everyone that has 850, but to everyone that can call Tallahassee home, whether it's that you're from here, whether you've been here, whether you're coming back here, it's home. But home is wherever we are. Montgomery will be home this weekend. Jackson will be home in a couple of weekends. Uh, Homecoming, we don't lose homecoming. Your homecoming, their homecoming, our homecoming, whoever's homecoming it is, we don't lose homecoming. So when we say welcome home, we are happy to be here. And I am humbled and honored to receive the trust of President Beard, Chair Harper, Vice Chair Gibbons, the entire Board of Trustees, the Chair LeBou, the FAMU Foundation Board, the FAMU National Alumni Association, to serve as your athletics director. I'm here to serve. We speak about titles, right? And I get it, VP, AD, all of those things. And I'm honored and I appreciate it. But as we lock arms, people give to people. Some people give to causes and things. And so I think that if Angie comes to you, let's not get caught up in VP Suggs or AD Suggs or whoever it is, because when we sit down and talk, and what I promise you, because I don't officially start until next week, but what I promise you is that I will answer all of your questions and I'll be honest. Now, it may not be the answer, that I can, that you want to hear or that you thought, but it'll be the truth. And it won't, I'm not going to shoot from the hip on it. If I need to go do some research on it, or if we need to have some other meetings about it and that kind of thing, as I mentioned in the press conference, we are going to be solution focused and results oriented, but we have to do that together. To all of the affinity groups, to all of the supporters, to all of you that have given for decades, for my entire life, many of you, uh, Box BB Section E, seats 6 and 7, and then 8 and 9. My parents have had those seats my entire life. I had a children's season ticket package on the yellow Ticketmaster ticket stock, if you all remember those. And so we've been going to Bragg all my life. Went to Gaither. We opened the Lawson Center against Tuskegee. I happened to have been on the staff, and we packed the Lawson Center out in that game against Tuskegee. And what we want to do is fill the Lawson Center again. As I said, we want to bring the city out. And as we continue our greatness, and definitely through the Eddie Jackson Memorial $1 Million Campaign, other initiatives that are happening, this is a show that as we continue in our greatness, we have to invest in our greatness. To any of the science students that are here, there's an athletics director that I really admire, and that's Chris Del Conte, the athletics director and vice president at the University of Texas. And with that, he says a chemistry student cannot use a 1950s Bunsen burner to be a great student as a chemistry student here in 2024, right? And so we've got to evolve, as he continues to say, as he speaks to Longhorn Nation about the things that they are doing and the things that are being built there. And so as it relates to building on greatness, we have several amazing coaches, because track and field is 5 sports. So if I do my math right, we have 14 sports. That means we have 10 coaches, right? Head coaches. And with that, uh, Coach Cozy, Coach Gokon, Coach Garfield, Coach Pressure, Coach Gordon, Coach Crary, Coach Houston with our tennis team, Coach Shoup with our baseball team. I think Coach Rice with our national championship golf team. And as we continue to go on, let me continue with Coach Frederick and Coach Felicia Barnes with our championship cheer squad. And I said all of that to say, I'd like to introduce you to the newest coach, and this is good on my heart, a champion within her own right, and she's bringing that championship spirit to Florida A&M. I'm going to ask her to stand, our head softball coach for the Florida A&M University softball team, Coach Brittany Beal. Let's welcome her. This is Coach Beal's third day in Tallahassee, and she was uh, th- out on the field this morning with the student athletes. She met them with the team officially on yesterday, and
And to the people online, say they can't see her
they
in the
can't
back of the
see it.
room.
So we're just you just got to see your face, Coach Bill.
Hi. Oh, thank you guys so much, and I'm excited. Like I said, this is my third day. We had practice today. We had 5:30 workouts and practice on the field today. Energy was good. The girls seemed very welcoming, and I'm excited to be a Bratler. So thank you.
Thank you, Coach Bill. And again, yes, when Coach Gordon is Coach Pressure. Yes, ma'am. We know you representing a good D land. So with that, again, we're looking for 14 championships for our 14 sports. And we are going to do that together. I have committed to the coaches that day in, day out, we will have whatever meetings we need to have. As I mentioned before, I'll go on a listening tour. That's what we're going to do. We're going to lock arms with university administration across campus. We're going to look at internal resources. We're going to look at external resources in terms of building what we need as being a voluntary member of the NCAA and the Southwestern Athletic Conference at the Division I level. And so we won't just look like champions when we go to get the trophies and get the rings and get the hardware. And yes, we're going to graduate outstanding men and women and send them out into the world of work, whatever that is. But we are sending them out as winners. That's what we're here to do. That's what we're here for us to win. Our job is to build this winning tradition, build upon this winning tradition that's been around for over 100 years. I was speaking with someone yesterday, and they were talking about rattlers that wear the gear and all of that. And I said, now, yeah, we have the pride. And it was a Seminole. And I said, let me tell you, our pride is on up days and on down days. And so together in the 850 with fangs up and all that goes with that, I'm going to end my comments because I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. And we can talk about it all day, but I know you have questions. So I'll say fangs up and hubba hubba, and we'll open it up.
Good afternoon, Rattlers, and good afternoon again to you, VP, AD,
Sarah.
Soror, all of that. But most importantly, I don't have a question. I'm going to expound on what you said because very rarely, or if I have heard it said at all, when I was to the press conference, I heard you make a statement. You were commenting on someone else, and you said she is just as much a rattler as I am. And I thank you for your humbleness because I don't think some of us rattlers understand that they are not the only ones bleed orange and green. So bringing that element to this environment, that's going to help us get more money because I try to get people to give money, and that's one of the very first things they say. You don't make rattlers feel like rattlers. We rattlers too, and they don't communicate and don't inform me. And sometimes you have to say what somebody else won't say because it needs to be said. And I've been just trying to find the appropriate time to say it. We need to make sure we embrace rattlers and recognize we all are rattlers, and then we can do and be better and stronger together. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
There's an audience that have been listening for, I think, a couple years, and that is in this day of technology, which I have no knowledge of, are the people who listen on the radio. So please tell us how much money we need to raise or whatever, so that we can include those people who cannot come to games, who don't have the iPhone. Is that right? iPhone. I do have an iPhone. Thanks to my niece. And for those who can, the Android. Oh, uh,
Excuse me, Dr. Walker, one moment, John, if you'll hold on, I apologize. But before she leaves, I want to acknowledge my mother-in-law who is here, and she has an appointment that she has to get to. But of course, Mom, thank you. I'm sorry, Dr. Walker.
oh, that's, I always acknowledge Mama.
That's right.
Mama Rattler. Um, so there are people who are ill, who can't come out or whatever.
Mhm.
So let us know what it takes to put us back on radio, because um, with Helene, I was without electricity for 2 days. Oh, and then the other thing is cable. And that radio drove me crazy, music, without anybody there for me to communicate with. And I remember finally Saturday night that FSU was playing. So I had a break. I listened to the game on the radio. So just tell us what it takes for FAMU's 90.5 to public broadcast the game.
Yes, ma'am. So we've jotted that down. We'll take a look
And
at.
as soon as possible, if we can catch
Yes, ma'am.
this season.
Yes, ma'am.
This season.
Yes, ma'am.
Next question.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Resources. I believe our athletic budget is 13 million.
It's a little less than that, but
Okay.
yes.
Right around 13 million. Howard, 19 million. A&T, 17 million. Prairie View, 15 million. What is we gonna do to get the number up? And how can we support you in that?
Certainly. And so this year's budget that was passed is just a little north of $11 million. And so we definitely need to take a look at it over the next, again, 100 days or so, and you'll see a 100-day plan uh, very soon. And with that, again, when we have the meetings, I've got to take a look at the budget. We got to take a look at the entire budget and look at where internal support is coming from, look where external support is coming from, look at our overall expense lines, look at then the details that go with that. I'll be looking into and asking questions about any type of revenue plans or strategies or what have you that were there. And then whatever we need to put in place or wherever the gaps are, again, we need to come up with solutions for that. I can't answer what exactly we're going to do right now, but the first, other than the first thing is we're going to do is take a look at what's there in the big picture of it all, not just what's on the lines that we see, but also the support that's coming from elsewhere, establish some value to those resources that come in the way of support, and then see where we need to go from here. But we certainly have to grow the budget in order for us to increase it. And we've got to look at sustainable ways to do that.
Question.
Walking as fast as I can, Miss Sadler.
All right, number one, Coach Cozy, it's for you too. Did anyone actually see the $700,000 check from the Miami game? And that's number one. Number two, when we can any of our contracts be renegotiated? For example, maybe we could play Florida State and get 1 million. Are we asking too little when we play Miami and Troy? But let's go back to number one. Has anyone seen the $700,000 check? Did it go to athletics or did it make a detour?
Thank you, Coach. Ms. Hadley, we will definitely take a look at that. And we know that there is a contract for that game, and they're good partners. And so I don't believe that that opponent has ever not shown up or honored their obligations. Yeah, right, right, right. And so again, that really goes seriously though, that goes to the budget question, right? As I take a look at where we are and take a look at real documents and papers, we'll be able to answer that question. But I believe that we're in a good position with that as it relates to our value and where we go. We work with the coaches. We hire the coaches to come in and be successful, and we are here to resource that success. And so, what I'll do is I'm going to meet with all of the coaches as we talk about guarantee games or as we talk about games and yield to and support their vision as they then support our success. And that's how we'll look at that. What that includes in terms of who we are as an experience, as a game day experience, that includes a lot of entities, top to bottom. That does include the Marching 100. That does include our football team. But what does that look like? We don't want to pull anything out of the air. We definitely want to be data driven, take a look at the information, and then see how we package what's going to best support us.
Yes, VP Angie. Um, Counter to what Ms. Hadley just spoke about, how do we determine how much we get when we play a FBS school? When you think about our value being the number one HBCU, it looks like we can be getting a little bit more. I mean, how do we value, how are we valued when we do that? Because you have other schools, smaller schools sometimes, getting $1 million contracts and $1.5 million contracts, but we just seem like we're just at a lower tier. How is that happening? What goes into that? And are we looking at possibly boosting that up when they ask for us to come?
Sure. So while I can't speak to the decisions that we've made prior to me getting here, what I can tell you is that with some of these games that are also guaranteed, there are certain elements, and you've got to take a look at what you're willing to take on as well, because some of that value shows itself in ticket sales. And so they'll give you a certain number of tickets that then get, and when I mean a certain number, I mean like 15 and 20,000 tickets, right? And because of course they're playing in stadiums that are holding 80,000 people or 75,000 people. And so 20,000 tickets is our whole stadium, right? And so when you go into looking at how many, what we're willing to take on to then get to that, because when you sell those 20,000 tickets, then you keep all of that revenue, and that's in the build out of how you're getting to the $1 million. I don't know that that's our capacity right now, but as we take a look at what our capacity is, that's what I meant by, talking to all of the people that are involved, figuring out what our capacity is and how far we can go and what we can fulfill. Because the truth of the matter is, we already know when we bring the band, we want to put the brand on the 100 level. That's not taking out 300 seats. That's killing the whole section on the 100 level of Hard Rock Stadium or Raymond James Stadium or what have you. We want to put them, and those kinds of things. And so that's where we've got to be intentional about what we're willing to give, what we're willing to do, and how we're going to package that for the best event experience when we go in. So we'll have more answers when we get those answers, and we'll be able to continue to share this information as we move forward.
Next question.
Now, my biggest problem is that I can't get the athletic department to lay out what they need in terms of equipment and what have you. I've been here for almost 2 years. I've donated quite a sum of money, and I've asked, "What do you need? What do you need?" So what I do is I fail to donate, just donate. I select a specific item or target, and that's what I donate toward. It's because there are a lot of discussion where the money is going. Is it getting what we need? And so I need to know what you want. We need to know what you want, because then we can target that. Because an example of that is the basketball coach came in a couple weeks ago and said he needed 3 iPads. It happened. It happened because he was very specific on what he wanted. But if you can lay out the entire layout of what the athletic department needs, and then we can go in there and then itemize those things to be able to get to purchase those things. Another example is that if the 3 iPads was not purchased, maybe I would have stepped up and said, "I'll buy one." Somebody over here said, "I'll buy one." Next thing you know, we got them all. But we don't do that very well. And so it concerns me each time I come here and people ask, "What do you need?" I need a whole lot, but nothing comes out. Why is that? The other question there was asked was the radio. If you go to the app you have with FAMU on it, you can listen to the radio on your phone. So you don't need to have a special program to do that because you already made that. Each time I can't make it to a ball game, I go on the app, pull it up live. You can hear everything that's being said and played.
Thank you so much for that. I respect and receive what you're saying. And with that, as we, again, go on these listening tours and as we speak with our leadership on campus, as well as with the different affinity groups, as we speak with our head coaches and talk about the future success of their programs and what they need to be successful, we will have an answer for you. And when I say you, I mean you and you collectively.
Right back here again, I'm an advocate for students. I just retired 44 years, and so you just introduced someone, and I'm not going to be biased. We had the basketball coach. I asked, "What do you need?" And right behind you, with the newest coach in the room, I think we need to find out what she needs so we can make sure that we are doing the same thing to help all sports. I'm not a rattler that, everybody got to tell you what I do. I'll do it silently, and God blesses you when you do it from the heart. But I think collectively, we need to make sure we do the same thing for all. So, Coach, there you go.
Vaughn, I think there were
You
two.
want me to say my list now? All right. So I need ladders, I need cones, I need tees, I need buckets, you want me to write it down? Okay, I'll write it down. So there are some needs that I need, that I need. Thank you.
I'm sure that President Vaughn is going to have Coach to come back, and when she comes back, we will definitely have that list of needs when she comes back, for sure. There- Right, because I'm sure there's some things that she hadn't uncovered yet that she needs. There may be some assumptions that she's making. Was there a question at the far back table? Did I see a hand go up? Okay, no, we're good. Mr. Mitchell.
While Mr. Cobb is going over to Mr. Mitchell for the last question, Angela, there was a question online. What will the athletic department do to reach out more to those rattlers that don't live in the immediate area?
It's going to start with communication. Josh Padilla and his team, they do an amazing job of putting out shorts and clips and different things like that. But we will go on the radio. We will do some things on the morning shows and the midday shows and have some information. And we will continue. We'll be making phone calls, or if you want to sit down, you'll be able to call me. We have to come to you and have the conversations. We definitely will continue to come and share here. But as we go around, these are things that, again, as we engage you, and it's not going to happen overnight, right? Because there's some education that's got to take place. Just like we just talked about the difference between getting $1 million guarantee and getting a $400,000 or $500,000 guarantee. And I'm here to, if I have to have the conversation, or if you want to come back to me and say, what did you say again? Or tell me about this again. If you need to go home and think about it a little bit and want to call back up and say, well, tell me about this again. We're going to tell you again and again and again, as many times as we need to get to where we're going. And to where we're going are those amounts that we talked about, of those budgets that are higher than ours. There are some HBCUs within the MEAC and within the SWAC that have $21 million budgets. Well, that's double what we have. So if we're saying that we are the best, then that means that we've got to double our budget at some point, and we got to figure out how we do that within the statutes and protocols and rules, if you will, of the great state of Florida. And so we will factor all of that in and come up with a plan that together, it's the Eddie Jackson Memorial $1 million campaign this year, but we need the same $1 million again next year. And we've got to come up with a plan together on how we will continue to sustain that.
My last question, I need to do two parts, but in terms of giving a list, coach, give the amount. The list is fine, but give an amount so that when somebody wants to help you, they'll know how much you need. The other thing is, this is not a question the university can answer. Once again, as Vaughn told you, a year ago, the foundation indicated that while we were raising more money than we've ever raised, only 7% are alumni. Now, one of the things we do very well is criticize the university. Alumni does not give. 7%, and we got 80,000, and that 7% is for academics. One of the things that we don't do is get on us. This group, I'm talking to the choir here, but we have 90,000 living graduates. 90,000. What we got to do is ask our friends and relatives and alumni that we know to shut up if they're not going to give any money.
I agree, and I don't think you'll tell them to shut up, but when we get these letters, that's what we want you all to do. Okay. Go out and recruit some, don't tell them to shut up, but go out and recruit people so that they can walk the walk, not just talk the talk. Because she can't spend Facebook posts. She can't spend Facebook posts. She can't send the softball team on Facebook posts because somebody mad on Facebook posts. We need money. Oh no, I know.
Joe, Vaughn, are you okay with Colonel Joe having the last question? Okay, he has something. Okay, before Colonel Joe comes, I'd just like to say on behalf of Davin, Dylan, and myself, we are thankful. We are honored for this opportunity to serve. We are honored by this responsibility, and we're committed to the success and legacy of Florida A&M University and our athletics program.
Before you leave, Our CEO is coming and she has something real to say, quick to say before Colonel Joe comes up. Yes, you do. You need to come around. She run from the camera. Miss Martha.
On behalf of all of these Eddie Jackson 220 Quarterback Club members, we would like to present you something, but this comes as, hold it up high. This comes as compliments of Kenny T.
Very nice.
Okay, all right. On behalf of all of these good folk, we want to present to you, and also on behalf of the founder of the 220 Quarterback Club, you know that you were one of his favorites. He is smiling down today on you.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson.
Thank you so very much
Thank you.
for coming home.
Thank you,
Okay,
Dr. Jackson.
so this is for you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, VP Suggs. Colonel Joe. Colonel. I don't normally give orders to a colonel. But when he's as good a friend as Colonel Joe is, you can.
I know it's a day, and I'll be very, very brief, but I promised that we would each one of these sessions say, let's remember the vote. I hope you're looking and you're paying attention. We have got to say that we didn't miss this one, that this one won't make any difference, that it doesn't matter if you do go to vote. It does matter. This could change our nation forever. And we need to make sure that we are ones who pull the lever and went down. You can have a mail-in, you can go down and have early voting, and you can go on the day of voting. I got a lot of information over here if you would like to want to talk to me after it. I do it. I know in a hurry. This is from the Urban League, and I've highlighted it, but I wanted to make sure to share it with you. They will have a voter registration party, which will include free food, door prizes, and entertainment. All citizens, students, and elected officials and candidates are welcome to participate, and it only takes 2 minutes to register to vote. They are having a session. It's on the 4th of October. That's this Friday. If you want to go to the Urban League and help ask everybody to vote. Now, hopefully, every one of us have a bunch of people who we're asking to go vote. If you don't, we still got time. Let's all go out and try and vote. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Colonel. Marcel.
Just before the closing. We have where our coach, James Cozy, will be there with the keynote speaker for the Gadsden County NAA. And that's going to be on October is that the 12th? October the 12th. Our illustrious member has signs. You got tickets available. So please go out and support our local chapter of the Gaston County NAA. Thank you.
All right, once again, it's always a privilege to stand before you as we continue our mission at the 220 Quarterback Club, the Eddie Jackson 220 Quarterback Club, which is number one, not criticize the university, and number two, to support with all our means and all the means of our friends. We want to continue to support our athletic department. We don't run the athletic department from here, but we can support them and affect change by supporting. I also want to remind everyone that coming up on October 23rd is the SWAC Cross Country Championship. We're going to try to get a transportation so that we can meet together and go out there because our team are the reigning champions. And it doesn't take much for us to go out there. The race is over in 30 minutes. It doesn't take much for us to get up. It's in the morning, too. It's at Appalachia Regional Park, out on Appalachia Parkway. That's where That is one of the #1 cross-country facilities in the world. I think the World Cross-Country Championships are coming there. 2026, the World Cross-Country Championships are coming there. Our county has done a phenomenal job in making a beautiful track for them to run. It's just beautiful. You're outside, it's in the morning, it's cool, they have refreshments out there. I'm gonna have all of that information next week because I want us to make a statement to those young ladies out there running. That we talked about being inclusive and a part of FAMU. Those young ladies won a championship last year. And some of the schools from out of town with the parents and things, they have more people than we did. And that won't happen again, not on our watch, right? Okay, so plan for the morning of October 23rd, Friday, October 23rd. I'm sorry, it may be the 25th then. I'll give the information next week, the definite information. And if we have a shuttle so that if you don't want to drive out there, we can ride together and ride back together and that sort of thing. They have a great ADA where you can park really close. The facility out there is just amazing. They after the championship, they have fireworks for the winning team. I mean, it's really amazing. The 21st, it's on a Monday? It's on a Monday. It's on a Monday. October 21st. So next week we'll have what our arrangements are. If you want to drive on your own, you can, but we want to support Coach Ellen Wood and those championship young ladies. And let's make a statement that we support all of our teams, okay? All right, everyone have a good week. Have safe travels to Montgomery. For those online, please make sure you get involved. Thank you all for tuning in each and every week. You're a very big part of the 220 Quarterback Club. Thank you.